How many of you have ever run out of gas because you ignored your car's warning to stop and refuel? How many of you have been sicker and for longer because you ignored early signs of illness and delayed going to the doctor? How many of you have gotten a speeding ticket in a construction zone despite clear warnings that fines would be doubled? We encounter warning signs every day. Caution lights, emergency alerts on phones and TVs, and weather warnings. We understand the importance of heeding warnings in our daily lives, but what about the warnings in our spiritual lives? If our spiritual selves are eternal and more significant than our physical bodies, we must pay attention to spiritual warning signs. Proverbs 22:3 tells us, "A prudent man sees danger and takes refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it." The word simple here refers to those prone to evil, those without moral direction, and those who live as if there are no consequences for their actions. Proverbs 1:22 says, "How long will you simple ones love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge?" Both verses essentially ask, how long will you ignore the warning signs and live for your own ways and desires as if there are no consequences? In Judges 14, we read about Samson, who ignored warning signs and compromised his spiritual vows to God, leading to significant suffering. Let's read Judges 14:1-9. Samson went down to Timnah and saw there a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, "I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife." His father and mother replied, "Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife?" But Samson said to his father, "Get her for me. She's the right one for me." His parents did not know that this was from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion to confront the Philistines, for at that time they were ruling over Israel. Samson went down to Timnah together with his father and mother. As they approached the vineyards of Timnah, suddenly a young lion came roaring toward him. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him in power, so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. But he told neither his father nor his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and he liked her. Sometime later, when he went back to marry her, he turned aside to look at the lion's carcass. In it was a swarm of bees and some honey, which he scooped out with his hands and ate as he went along. When he rejoined his parents, he gave them some, and they too ate it. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. Samson ignored many warning signs in this passage. Despite having the Spirit of the Lord on his life, he compromised his mission and vows by desiring a Philistine woman, an enemy of his people. His impulsive decision showed a lack of self-control and foresight. When you desire things God says are off limits, you are headed for trouble. That is a warning sign. Samson should have known better than to pursue a Philistine woman. His impulsive decision was driven by lust and led him to ignore his mission and God's commands. This also impacted his parents, who was drawn into his disobedience. When you disregard the counsel of godly people, you are headed for trouble. That is a warning sign. Despite his parents' objections, Samson insisted on marrying the Philistine woman. This disregard for godly counsel led him further into sin. When you dare to go places where you will be tempted to break your vows to God, you're headed for trouble. That is a warning sign. Samson's encounter with the lion occurred in a vineyard, a place he should have avoided due to his Nazirite vow. His presence there showed carelessness and disregard for his commitment to God. Sin creates patterns called strongholds that become harder to escape. Ignoring warning signs and frequenting places of temptation lead to spiritual compromise. When you deceive others through lies, pretending, or omitting the truth, you're headed for trouble. That is a warning sign. Samson lied to his parents about the honey, defiling himself and them. This deception aligned him with the devil, the father of lies, and led to his downfall. Samson's life shows that ignoring warning signs leads to spiritual and physical consequences. Although he achieved victory over the Philistines, it came at the cost of his life. How different could his story have been if he had heeded the warning signs and followed God's way? Thank you for watching and exploring the importance of heeding spiritual warning signs. Remember, our spiritual well-being is vital, and God's Word provides guidance to keep us on the right path. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.